What is up, everybody, and welcome to another DID video. And we're going to talk about another place in my system today. Today's video is about Lovelane City. Last time I think I talked about an area, it was Starlight Plaza. Well, Lovelane City is another very large city area that is actually home to 3 of my others. The 3 others who live there are Lulu, her sister Evelyn, and Dominique. The 3 of them have... Oh, sorry. I'm trying to move my camera a little bit. You guys almost fell. I'm so sorry. The 3 of them have businesses there. Their businesses, of course, Lulu and Evelyn run the Heartful Bakery, which apparently has the best sweets in town, which is really cool. And Dominique runs a club. Her club is called Whips and Chains. It's a BDSM club. I'll get into that a little bit later. Let's talk about where Lovelane is first, because I like talking about where the directions are to each place. Lovelane is really weird in terms of where it is, so you have to go through a bunch of different places to get there. So say you're starting here at Starlight Plaza, you have to go through the Amethyst Forest, through Whiplash Desert, which, by the way, is the most dangerous place in my system. Just want to point that out, and that is a whole nother fucking video. And in order to get through there, you have to get in a very special vehicle that is indestructible, has water, has air conditioning, because you really fucking need that shit to get through the desert. And it's got it doesn't have tires, it has tank treads, so you can go across the sand easier. So you go across there, and you'll find a winding road that goes it kind of goes like this. It'll take you, I believe, either through or past Rogue's Gallery, which is a pirate town. So you keep going around like this, you'll eventually find it goes in a large curve like this way, and you'll find yourself going like this. So it's kind of it's really hard to explain. But essentially, you'll start walking down a path of what seems like various different types of flowers. You'll see a forest in the distance. I'm sorry, that is actually the Lichen Woods. That's yet again another place to talk about. There are so many fucking places because this is literally a fucking country. Just want to point that out. So keep walking down this path. Eventually, you'll reach a very large, kind of circular mountain range with a divot in the middle. It's this is the mountain range, and in it is the city. You walk into the gate, there's very large doors. You'll be stopped by a succubus security guard who asks what your business is, business or pleasure, visiting, whatever. You tell them what you're there for, and they'll generally let you in. If, you can just say oh, I'm just curious what's here. They'll probably explain it to you. But generally they try to keep people from there due to the way the city is. So you go through the gate, and you'll see a large street that's bustling with shops and everything. I'm going to point this out before I get into it. This whole thing is very not safe for work. Don't know if this video is getting age restricted or not. I might have to do that. I'm sorry if I do. But there's a lot of adult shops. Let's put it that way. Don't kill me, YouTube. This is purely educational. Essentially, it's not just that. Obviously there's stuff like pharmacies and things like that there that are very important. Obviously, you can't have a very sexually charged town or city without them, because they sell very important things. And there are brothels and stuff like this. Strip clubs, brothels, porn studios. It's a very, very sexual place, which is why there are guards there. Generally, children that are not from the city are not allowed in for safety reasons, which is clear. I wouldn't say there's anyone creepy there, but because there aren't, but they want to make sure that they stay innocent. So let's put it that way. They don't want a lot of children exposed to that, and that does go along with my mindset a little bit. I try to keep children away from stuff that's a little too adult, even though I know children are very jaded. Anyway, This whole place is just crazy. I like to compare it to Los Angeles. It is bustling. There's always someone on the go. There's always something happening. There's people all over the place. And the Heartful Bakery is very popular. Obviously, Lulu, compared to me, like I'm very not like materialistic. I like nice things. I like having money, and I like doing things that are fun and getting expensive toys and stuff like that, and just enjoying life. Lulu is essentially one of those very high-end kind of ladies. She generally likes the finer things in life. She only uses the best ingredients for her food. She likes proper makeup. But she's not shallow. Like, she knows that she has to stay humble, which is good. Her sister Evelyn, who runs the shop with her, and is generally like the waitress and everything, trademark tsundere. Being 100% real, she is very much like, she has an attitude, but she means well. Like, she's hard on the outside, soft on the inside, which is a lot like Candy, when you really think about it. She loves Lulu. She actually does care about people in her system, including me, but she has a hard time showing it. I used to call her Envy, because she is a very envious individual. And she is Lulu's little sister, so obviously Lulu loves the shit out of her. And I like the idea that, and it's not just an idea, this is actually something that happens, but I like how this is. Lulu likes to hug her little sister all the time. Like, she spoils the shit out of this kid. But Evelyn actually is more humble than she is, which is saying quite a bit. It's very strange how the relationship works. But getting away from them and the Heartful Bakery with the delicious Heartful cakes, by the way, which are like the best angel food you could ever get, ironically enough, in a town like this. You go down the road a bit and you take a few turns and you'll run into Whips and Chains. I almost always call it Leather and Lace because of Saints Row, but it's actually Whips and Chains. Dominique is not only the owner and proprietor, she is also the head bouncer. So if you cause trouble for her anyway, she's gonna kick your ass. And honestly, like, she does take her job very seriously. Not only her job in the system, which is, I believe she's a protector. We haven't really talked about it that much, but I believe that's what her role is. And I think Evelyn is probably also a seeker, but I don't know. I need to really start communicating more with these guys. But honestly, her club is very fancy. It's dark. It's got like a lot of dark colors. Obviously, it's a fetish club. I'll be fucking blunt. All right, so, but she cares for her people she works with. She cares for the system, and she's very motherly. She's very defensive. I remember there was a time I was working KFC, and somebody basically said they wanted to punch me in the face, and I remember her shouting in my head, "Let me at him! I'm gonna teach them a lesson. You don't mess with my babies." And I was just like, oh god, Dominique, no, you can't come out right now. I'm in the middle of work. This is not a good thing. I don't want to be fired. We had her calm down, but it was a hell of a thing. Anyway, Lovelane is a very large place, and it's very easy to get lost. But I will give a warning that it is not safe necessarily. Like, it's safe from outside attacks, and people do their best to keep strangers out of certain areas, but there is an area that I was warned about. And I'm saying this not because people can go there, but because it is a very scary place, and I don't know why it's in my system. But there is a place called the Burning Heart Brothel. I'm not going to go into what they do there, but it is very unpleasant. It is essentially very cruel and very evil. My others have told me time and time again, do not ever, let anyone go there, because they will not come back. Essentially, it is a death trap. It has been shut down. I'm going to say that straight up. But I still warn people about going there. Not because anybody can, obviously. People outside the system can't go into another person's fucking system. That is a fallacy. But because there are people who would be interested in investigating it, especially in my system. I have some very curious people. I think the one I've had to warn about it the most was Momo. She gets very curious, and she said, I want to go to Lovelane and see this place that nobody everybody tells me not to go to. And I say, no. Even Lulu, who is usually very open to experiences, has said, stay away from there. Even if you're ever inside your own system, stay away. Because that is not there's no happy times to be found there. There's nothing good about it. And I admit I get curious about it as well. It is a very intriguing part of my system that I'm not quite sure is there. I think it represents, like, the darker places of the mind that, like, obviously we have the dark zone, but that's generally a very, like, it's very peaceful there, which is so weird. But then we have places like Whiplash, and, you know, there's actually Rogues Gallery. Rogues Gallery, while relatively safe, is not the safest. We have all kinds of places with dangerous animals and creatures. There's people who want to hurt others, and honestly, I believe those are representative of negative thoughts and negative experiences. One of the theories that I have about the Burning Heart Brothel actually happens to be from past trauma that I went through. That was actually based on. It was actually, I don't know how to explain it. It feels like it was created from that life-changing experience that was not pleasant. I'd rather not go into it. It was in high school, and it was just not a good time. I got away pretty much unscathed, but the experience has stuck with me. And honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if what I went through created that place, because it does involve the exact same thing that happened to me. If you want to hear about it, I would be open to talking about it, I guess, but I try to keep this channel as positive as possible. And that past experience was not fun. Talking about this area of Lovelane, which is a generally bustling, positive area, is not fun. And I always try to figure out, like, how did these things come to fruition? How are they in my system? Why are they there? You know what? Maybe no, I don't know if I want to talk about it. Like, I'm like fighting with myself on this. I know this video just took a turn, and I'm sorry. But part of me wants to talk about why it exists and why I believe it does. The other part of me is like, no, that's not okay. It's gonna trigger you. You're gonna get, like, really upset, and it's not gonna be fun. Honestly, no, we're not gonna talk about it. Let's keep this channel happy and generally a positive place to learn. The thing that's interesting about my system is it seems to be formed based on things I've been through and things I enjoy, which is very interesting. And Lovelane itself, I feel, is based off of a lot of my inner, like, and this is personal, so I hope nobody judges me too hard, intersexual urges. Like, everybody has them, let's be real. But honestly, like, I have a very high sex drive. Being 100% real. Like, I generally have trouble dealing with it, and usually Lulu kind of, like, takes advantage of that idea of, like, oh, we can get affection this way. Which we have talked about, and she's getting better at it. Like, we're managing together, which is good. And I'm not throwing shade at her, obviously. She's working really hard, and I'm so proud of her, by the way. But honestly, I feel like that's why Lovelane exists. As kind of like an area for that, you know, for the more adult things in my life. And, you know, there's, like, bars and stuff there, too, so... And I used to drink. I don't anymore, not as much, at least. Occasionally I'll have, like, a sip of rum chata or whatever, but I don't drink as much as I used to. So, I'm wondering what this all means. Like, because I'm still learning. Like, this could mean nothing, and it's just something that's part of the system because it's there. But I do feel like a lot of this stuff is representative of me. And, you know, every part of the system I'm going to talk about seems to have something in common with who I am as a person and with my brain. I'll be 100% real with that. Like, everything I'm going to talk about involves me in some way. That being said, there are going to be certain things that I will omit from this whole thing because they're either too traumatizing or I just don't want to talk about them right now. Like, obviously with the Anna and Pan video that I did a bit ago, I left out a lot of info about them because they are, like, they're young, and I don't want to bring negative attention to this. So, but I will say that Lovelane is not the worst place in the world. It has its dark side, like everything does. Like, obviously, there's a dark side in every area that I will probably have to discuss later. But generally, it is a force for good. It's a place for enjoyment. It's basically, I know I said Los Angeles, a little bit more like Vegas, just not as huge. Like, it's a party town. There's all kinds of like crazy stuff going on. People work and live there, and it's a town that's inhabited by Succubus and Incubus. That's their main thing. I think there's only a couple humans, including Dominique. So it's a very interesting place, and that's why I like talking about it. As dark as certain parts of this were, and how adult this area is, it is important to talk about. Because, honestly, it's an area where 3 of my parts live. 3 of my others. And I'm trying to talk about their homes in great detail, without going too far and getting demonetized. You know what I mean? Well, I'm not even monetized to begin with. But anyway, that's all I got for this. I'm sorry I kind of rambled a lot. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate stopping by. I always do. If you like what I do here, like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. It really helps me out a lot, especially the comments. The YouTube algorithm is fucked. You're beautiful, you're valid, and you're important. That is very, very, very important to me and everybody up here. And I will see you in the next video I make, which will be in a couple minutes, but you won't see it until later. So until then, goodbye.